Hello, I'm Rupert Brown from Brown's Bushcraft. I'd like to show you one of my products today, the Brown Filter Bag. The bag has been designed to be used as a water filter. Now, making water safe is a two-stage process. The first stage is filtration, the second stage is purification. So we can use the brown bag for that initial stage for the filtration. And it's primarily designed to be used to filter turbid water. Turbid water is any water that has suspended sediment in it. That could be organic matter, mud or sand or silt. Now it's very important that we remove that sediment, because if the sediment is left in, it's known to reduce the effectiveness of any chemical purification treatments that we might add. In addition, if we leave the sediment in, it can upset your digestive system. These days there is a good range of modern personal water treatment systems that are able to both filter and purify the water together as a package. Now these systems work very well, they are effective, but they have been known to fail in certain environments, such as in the desert or in the Australian outback, where you've got high levels of suspended sediment carried in the water. The problems there is that it tends to block the filters up. So we could use the brown bag in conjunction with one of these systems as a pre-filter, and by removing that sediment we're reducing the filtering load on the system as well as extending its working life. Now the advantage of the brown bag as a standalone water filter is the fact that it's very lightweight, it's compact, it's very durable, it's virtually unbreakable, and it has an unlimited filtering life. If we look at the bag itself, it's made from a specialist canvas, which I'll talk about shortly. On the front we have a label, and on the back of the label is nice clear instructions on how to use it. Up in the corner of the bag we've got a non-reflective, non-corrosive eyelet there, and through that eyelet a length of very good quality paracord in which to hang it up with. That cord could also be used as emergency cordage if you happen to need it. The bag itself is available in two different sizes. We have this size here, which is the personal filter bag, which will hold up to 3 litres of water. And this big fellow here, this is the group filter bag, which will hold up to 20 litres of water. The bags themselves, they're made from a specialist canvas, exactly the same as the Army surplus military bags. The idea that led me on to manufacturing the bags was that I seemed to notice a few years ago that the stock of Army surplus military bags was starting to dwindle, and they were getting increasingly harder to find. So in an idea to launch a new filter bag, I tested lots of different weights and weaves of canvas, different types and thicknesses, and I never found anything that performed as well as the old Army Millbank bags. This eventually led me on to tracing the manufacturers of the original canvas for the Army, and I had the canvas rewoven to exactly the same specification, but in this more subtle neutral brown colour. The bags currently meet Ministry of Defence requirements with regard to toxic treatments and coatings. This was found to be a potential hazard in some of the early Army Millbank bags, in where there was a rot-proof coating that was fitted and treated on the canvas, and this was proved to be potentially hazardous. This of course isn't in the new bags. I'll show you how to use the bag shortly and talk about how we can use it just down by the water's edge. One of the key things that I need to make clear that if you happen to have one of these bags and it's brand new, it's very important that you go through a process of breaking the bag in. And that simply means what we need to do is to soften the canvas up to make the fibres nice and loose so that they open out for when it's ready to be used on your first trip, outing or expedition. This is a bag that's had quite a lot of use, and here we have a brand new bag next to it, and you'll notice that the canvas is quite stiff and quite rigid. So what we need to do is to get the bag to a point where it's nice and soft and supple, and that will allow the water to pass through it. A number of things we can do to break the bag in. Primarily what we need to start with is to make sure the bag is thoroughly soaked through. So immerse it in water, get it nicely soaked through, and then we just start over a period of time, just start crunching it up. Bear in mind it's tough, it's unbreakable. Really just start wringing it, crunching it up and start to work it, and eventually what you'll find is that the fibres will start to loosen up and it will start to get a lot softer. By breaking it in, that will allow the water then to pass through. It doesn't pass through very quickly, but if the bag isn't broken through in the first place, then you'll find that the water will just sit in it and it won't drain out through the bottom. Another technique that we can use just to speed up that breaking in process, if you like, is that you can put it through the washing machine, put it through a couple of rinse cycles, make sure that you have no detergent in the machine and definitely not any fabric softener, because that will act as a waterproofing agent. Okay, so I'll take my bag down to the side of the water and show you how we can actually get the bag set up ready to start filtering. Okay, I'm down at the edge of the water now. I've got my bag, I've got a little cup with me just to scoop the water into the bag if I need to, and I've got my billy cam over on the side there ready to set up to collect the water to be filtered. So the bag is dry at the moment, so the first thing we need to do is put the bag into the water, massage it in the water, make sure it's thoroughly soaked through, and then we're going to open the bag up, try and scoop as much water in it as we can, and if we need to, have a cup and then we can just fill it right to the top. On the front of the bag there's a stitched line here. That line is designed to act as a marker, and what we need to do is allow the water to run down the bag and out the bottom until it gets down to this level here. Just let it run away to waste, and once it's down to that line we can hang it up over our vessel there to start collecting the water to be filtered. We allow that first bit to drain because what that helps to do, that if there's any deposits on the outside of the bag, it just helps to rinse them off. Okay, so I'm going to start getting it into the water now and just get it nicely soaked through. Make sure it's really well soaked. Bring the water through it so that you know that it's saturated. I'll just top it up a bit with my cup there. Okay. So I'm just letting that run away now, just onto waste, until it gets down to the line there. Then we're ready to hang it up and we can start the filtering process. To filter an entire bag from the line down can take anything between 5 and 10 minutes, depending on how dirty the water is. If there's a lot of sediment carried in the water, then that will just clog it slightly at the bottom, which will slow it down. But it's all part of your routine, that if you're getting out and setting up a camp, one of the first things you do is get your water ready, get your bag hung up, and then get it filtering, and in the meantime you can get your fire ready, put your tent or your tarp up, by which time your water's filtered through and you can get a brew on. Okay, that's down to the line now, so I'm going to hang it up and start collecting the water to be filtered. So you can see it's coming through at a fairly good rate now, so we'll just leave that for 5-10 minutes till it fills up the can, and then I'll come back to you and speak to you towards the end. Okay, so that's all the water passed through the brown bag now. I've got a nice full billy can there of filtered water. That's the first stage of making water safe complete now. We've done the filtration. The water that we've filtered is still by no means safe to drink, so we would then need to move on to the second stage of that process, which is the purification. And we could purify that in a number of different ways, either by bringing it up to a rolling boil or by adding some chemical purification treatments. If you know that you're staying in the same place, you can leave the bag hung up and just let it dry out. But what is important to get into the habit of doing after each session is making sure that you turn the bag inside out to give it a good clean. So reach inside the bag, grab it down inside the base of the bag and pull it inside out. And get it fully inside out, and then give it a good tap and a good bash just to knock off all the loose sediment that builds up inside there. Pay close attention to the base of the bag where it filters down to the tip, because that's where we get a build-up of sediment in the bottom there. It's important that we get into the habit of getting it cleared out after each session, because you'll find that if that sediment is allowed to build up, then it will reduce the flow rate of the bag and make it very slow. So as I say, get into the habit of turning it inside out after each session and giving it a good rinse out. Now, as I said early on, one of the beauties of the brown bag is the fact that it's very lightweight and it's very compact. So once it's nice and fully dried, you'll see how small it will fold up. It takes up no space. So it's then ready for the next time. You can keep it stored in a pocket or keep it stored in your pack so that it's always ready for when you need it. If you're interested in buying the brown bag, it's available to buy on the internet, and you can get it through the Bushcraft magazine store as well as through a number of other outdoor and bushcraft retailers. Thank you very much for watching.